What's up? This is Karl Duran, and this is Life Confidential. I want to remind you of the goal of Life Confidential, and that is to help you reclaim your truth with a new direction and clarified vision. And I hope you had the chance to go back and watch last week's video where we talked about how you could reclaim the truth for your life. We did 3 exercises that I would really love for you to go back and take a look at each and every one of those and do them yourselves. Try them out. So if you haven't seen the video, I encourage you to go back and take a look at those. Try each one and see if it could help you at all reclaim the truth for your life. Today we tackle how to gain clarity for your life. And that's the second step in that process for finding your direction. This is a crucial time for you to really understand who you are, and where you can go. I have a 17-year-old daughter, and she is learning how to drive, and it is a very interesting experience taking her out. She's passed the written driver's test. She understands the way to drive. She understands the laws and how to kind of guide herself on the road. But what she doesn't do is understand the people on the road. Now, that's something that comes with time. That's something that comes with just the experience. Learning how to be a defensive driver. Learning how to keep yourself safe in those times when you're driving and other people aren't doing the things that maybe they should. And that's something that we have in life, right? We as I was driving and continue to drive, I am constantly paying attention to everybody that's around me. Paying attention to the people that are driving, because she's driving and she's expecting everybody to follow all these rules. She's expecting them to make complete stops. She's expecting them to see a yellow light and stop. In reality, people see yellows and they hit the gas and they fly right through. The expectations and perception of what's happening on the road are 2 different things. Now, isn't that the way we see it in life sometimes? Expectation and perception can sometimes be different. Biologists look at the way that we interpret vision, the way we interpret the things that we see. And what they found through fMRIs is that most of the time when you are looking at your sight, it is activated by your memory centers, not by your vision centers. Let me say that again. So most of the time when we are looking at something, what they found through fMRIs is that your sight is activated more by your memory centers than our vision centers. Doesn't that seem like life? Sometimes we can be in scenarios where stuff happens, and instead of looking at what's really in front of us and what's really happening, what we do is we end up looking and we pull off a memory, a time where we were hurt, or a time where something happened, or even a time of joy, and we pull off that. I know that happens in marriage all the time. Communication can happen, but sometimes it isn't always clear to the other person because we're pulling off the memory of the last time we heard this type of conversation. This stuff happens to us in jobs. It happens to us in marriages. It definitely happens to us in parenting. And, if you're in a situation like that, how do you respond? So, what are some things that you have in your life that maybe your vision might be a bit changed or a bit off kilter based on past memories? Maybe you don't have the proper perception on where you're at. This happens frequently. And so this can either hinder or enhance you. So what do you do in those situations? Unfortunately, most of us, we sit in those moments where we pull off those memory portions that may be bad. And isn't that life? We have situations that happen and we go into fight or flight mode. We go into the defensive strategy. But looking through clear vision and understanding where you are really in life and the situations can help you gain so much more clarity and get proper vision in your life. So I challenge you, spend some time and look at these situations that you may have in front of you. Maybe you have something really big happening. Maybe it's a job situation. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe you, like me, have a teenage daughter and you're trying to figure it out. Now, I don't know what I'm doing with my teenage daughter. I am trying as much as I can, but I tell her all the time, I've never been a teenage girl. So everything that's in front of me is brand new, and I'm trying to figure out how to navigate through this with you. So help me out. So look through some of the things that you have in your life, the situations, and then think about where you're at in real life with that perception. Is it maybe that the circumstance that you're seeing may not be as clear because you're pulling off past hurts, or past times that you didn't get the job, or past times where the relationship went sour, or past times where maybe the kids didn't quite listen to you the way that you communicated? Take a look at that, examine it, see if there's a pattern, see if there's a way that you can spin it on its axis and turn it into a new direction. You know, something else that is always, or that is frequently connected to, is reality and purpose. I find that people, when they can understand the reality that they're in, the situation they're in, the speed at which they're moving, it's a lot easier to find the path to the purpose. And sometimes we struggle, I know. Sometimes we struggle finding what the next step is. But when you can truly step into the point to where you understand the gifts that you have, when you understand the strengths that you possess, when you understand the power that you carry, that's when you can walk in the purpose that you were meant for. So what is it there? What kind of power do you have? I challenge you to look inside. What kind of power do you have? What kind of clarity do you have? What kind of vision do you have for your life? What kind of understanding do you have for where you want to go? I challenge you to look into that. And I challenge you to not let past failures suffocate your dreams. This is the most important part to gaining clarity in your life. Don't let past failures suffocate your dreams. That is the whole purpose for this video. I want you to grab that, keep that with you, and really think about that. Are we letting past failures suffocate our dreams? You know, I've always wanted to help people. Through my life, I've had a lot of struggles. Again, from the time I was 4 and 5, I was faced with struggles that most people weren't faced with. And I've always thought, what if I could take those times, take those moments where I really struggled and spin them and use them for good and share with others? How could I do that? And so that's why I started going to church. I thought, okay, this is the place where you could be real and raw. This is the place where you could go and I could talk about this and I could help people. Unfortunately, I found out that my real and raw might be a little bit too real and raw. The stuff that I went through might be a little bit harder for people to understand. And it really stifled me. It kept me from walking in the path that I knew I had. I couldn't share about my views on drugs and sex and gang life and understanding how I learned respect for people through walking through a gang life. It did not make sense to them. And so taking those and going to that scenario just didn't fit. But what it did do was it brought me through a path where I was able to eliminate the things that would hold me back from where I was. And now I'm in a position where I'm walking forward and I'm able to share and help people no matter what walk of life you've come. I'm able to talk about my story and how I overcame everything that happened to me so that I could walk in and help people. And I saw that happen to people. I saw that happen to people in the church. I saw a good friend and she would hang out with me and my family. And then I got pulled aside and they said, you might want to watch out with that family. I don't know about them. They're a little raw. They live a little bit differently. You know, their views don't quite match some of the views that we have. And I just felt so bad how they would dodge times to go out to lunch with them or dodge times to go hang out with them and their kids. And I always told my wife, that's something we want to never do. Let's hang out with those people. And she was like, yes, let's do it. And we hung out, and still to this day, they're great friends of ours. And I appreciate them for their heart and everything they do. You know, Gary Vee has a great quote that he just put out, and it says, it makes no sense why people think that at age 18, 22, and 30, that they've got the life game figured out, when figuring out everything is a life game. Figuring out everything is a forever, a life game. It just continues to go. We continue to do that. That was that process for me. I knew I wanted to help. I knew I wanted to be there for people, but I didn't know where. Started going, and I learned that that place wasn't right for me. And I moved away to another area and started working in an area where I can function fully. And I could talk about things as they come in real life. This is a continual process, so don't get discouraged. You know, as we end our time here today, what I want to talk to you about is this last challenge. And this is what I want you to do, okay? This is what I want you to do. I want you to wake up every day for the next week. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, you can do it. The best part of gaining clarity is learning that you have power to move forward. I want you to wake up, look yourself in the mirror and say, you can do it. Spend time throughout the day. If you catch yourself in the mirror, say, you can do it. Look at yourself and say, you can do it. Frequently, tell yourself that you can do it. Those are the most powerful 4 words that you may never hear, that you need to hear from a person just like you. So what I want you to do is spend this next week, tell everybody you can when you see them, hey, you can do it. Tell yourself, hey, you can do it. Get in a pattern of empowering yourself to walk in the purpose that you have for your life. Remember to subscribe to this channel. I'm so excited that each and every one of you have watched this video. Please remember to share it. Invite people to follow the page to see what's happening here with Life Confidential. Remember, the best thing about this channel is we can help you reclaim your truth, gain clarity, and live your purpose through talking together on how to get better. Next week, we talk about living in your purpose, and I'm so excited to talk to you about that because that is the most important step in this whole process, and I know that when we do this, you will feel freedom like you've never felt before. Once again, I'm Karl Duran, and thank you for following Life Confidential.